hello, and welcome to this live telephone town hall meeting with residents of Riverside County, District 5. We'll be joined shortly by Supervisor Yxstian Gutierrez. He's here to provide updates and answer your questions tonight. Hang tight, and I'll tell you how you can participate in our live virtual forum with Riverside County residents tonight. Again, hello, and welcome to those of you who have already joined us. Right now, we're dialing out to tens of thousands of your neighbors in Riverside County. We'll be finished with our dial-out in a couple of minutes. We are joined tonight by Riverside County Supervisor Yxstian Gutierrez, who's going to be here to provide updates and to answer your questions tonight. So while we wait for more Rivco residents to join the call, I want to let you know how you can participate in today's live forum. We're going to start out by hearing some opening comments and important updates from Supervisor Gutierrez. Then we'll spend the majority of this live forum taking questions from you folks in our listening audience. So, if you have a question in mind already for the Q&A portion of our forum, don't hesitate to press 0 on your phone and get that question to an operator. They'll take down some notes on your question, and then you can ask your question live if that's your preference. But if you prefer, I can read your question over the air instead. Whatever's more comfortable for you. Either way, again, just press 0 to submit a question at any time during this forum. Then let your operator know if you want me to read your question over the air or if you prefer to go live with your question. Again, whatever's better for you is fine with us. Many of you have already registered to be called for these live telephone town hall meetings with Supervisor Gutierrez. If we called you tonight and you have not already registered to receive these calls regularly, you can visit tthm.com/Riverside. Again, tthm.com/Riverside. If you want to sign up to be called for future forums with Supervisor Gutierrez and to submit questions in advance of those forums. We already have some of you who have submitted questions in advance of this forum, so thanks to those of you who have already submitted them. And again, if you're on the line live with us, you want to submit a question for Q&A with Supervisor Gutierrez, press 0. Get that question to an operator, and again, you can go live with your question or let your operator know if you want me to read it instead. Now, if you want to get email updates from Supervisor Gutierrez going forward, press 7 on your phone. Give us your best email address, and we'll be able to send you a regular e-newsletter from Riverside County. So press 0 to submit questions for Q&A. Press 7 to sign up for email updates from Supervisor Gutierrez. And we're almost done with our dial-out, already seeing some great questions coming in, so thanks so much to everybody who's on the line with us. Again, we're going to start out with some comments and updates from Supervisor Yxstian Gutierrez, representing you in Riverside County District 5. Then we're going to go right into Q&A and spend the rest of our forum on that. We'll also run some polling questions, and those surveys will be another good way for you to give us feedback tonight, and we do appreciate you voting in those polls, along with any questions you may have. Again, 0 for questions, 7 to give us your email address for updates, and with that, it's my pleasure to kick off this live forum by turning it over to Riverside County Supervisor Yxstian Gutierrez. Please go ahead, Supervisor.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ian, for hosting this telephone town hall. Super excited to be here tonight. I'm Supervisor Yxstian Gutierrez, and it's really great to see so many of you joining in once again. We had this telephone town hall back in May, and there were so many folks that were able to join, ask questions, so it's really great to see so many more residents joining as well. These town halls for me are more than just discussions. They are truly an avenue for every voice in our community to be heard and for your questions to be addressed. Tonight, we're fortunate to be joined by several department heads from across the county's various sectors, from DPSS, Emergency Services, Animal Services, County Sheriff, RUHS, and even Veteran Services. My goal as your supervisor is for all of us to be able to learn a lot tonight. For us here at the county, we want to learn more about your concerns and issues out there in District 5, and for you all listening on the line to learn about how the county handles these concerns and what we can do for you as well. It's also a great tool, I think, to learn about some of the exciting things that are happening across the district as well. For example, we got so many great programs happening in District 5. I call them my hire programs. And one of these programs is called the Hire District 5 program. This is a local hire initiative where we encourage businesses to hire residents locally from the area. And Ian, we also have, and all the residents, we have another great program called Hire a Veteran. This is another great initiative where we also encourage businesses to hire veterans, and we have another great program called Hire a Senior. All of these programs, businesses are able to receive about $1,000 per employee that they hire in any of those categories. So in fact, a business can actually earn up to $15,000 for just bringing 5 employees on board if they meet each of those criteria. I also wanted to just share with you all again, oh, by the way, make sure to press 0 if you would like to submit your question to an operator. So make sure to press 0 to submit your question to an operator. I also wanted to share that I know that homelessness has been a major issue across the county and also in the 5th District. This is why I've actually championed several programs in the 5th District. One of the programs called Employer Connect. This is a program where we actually help pay the wages for a person at a business for up to 3 months. It's a really innovative program, and we're actually using ARPA dollars to fund this program. I also have another program called the Homeless to Work program, and if you live in Moreno Valley, when I was mayor, you might have heard of the program. This is a great initiative where we actually provide part-time employment to folks that are unhoused in beautifying and cleaning the community. So I'm really looking forward to this program being launched as well. It's already been approved by the board, but we're just in the initial phases of launching it. So really looking forward to that program as well. If you have a small business and you need to fill some spots in your staff, just so you know, now is a perfect opportunity to do so and earn that little extra cash while you're at it. And then just so you know, if you want to learn more information about the new hire programs, you can visit my website, which is www.rivcodistrict5.org. Select the Jobs tab at the top of the page, then click District 5 Programs. Again, hit 0 if you would like to ask a question to the operator, and then I can go ahead and answer that question. I also just wanted to share that we are very thrilled to have hosted several movie nights and cleanups throughout the 5th District. In fact, most recently we held a movie night in Nuevo on October 13th, and we had several hundreds of residents there. We had popcorn, activities, food vendors. It was really, really nice. We also had another one that we showed, the movie Shrek, over by Cherry Valley. So we're trying to do a lot of these types of initiatives across the county because I'm hearing more and more from residents that they want more activities, family-friendly events for their family members. Our next movie night will be in Cabazon on December 2nd, and we will be showing Polar Express. And once again, we will have popcorn, hot cocoa, arts and crafts, and food available as well. And it's going to be December 2nd at 6:30 p.m. Many of you have also called into my office or have sent me messages on my Rivco District 5 app, mobile app, about the reopening of the San Jacinto Animal Shelter. And so I'm really, truly excited about that as well. We're going to have a grand reopening on November 3rd, so hopefully you can join me for that event. Lastly, I just want to mention that we also have a podcast. It's called Thrive in District 5. So it's a podcast where I talk about various county issues from month to month, from housing, crime, and anything in between. It's a great way to really stay engaged about what's happening throughout the county of Riverside and in the 5th District. And it's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon Music. Thank you again. And again, thank you, Ian, for hosting this. I'll turn it over to you so we can get to some of the questions.
Much appreciated. Thank you again, Supervisor, and thanks to everybody who's joined us from District 5 for our live forum tonight. Again, we are going to start out with a polling question. We'll run 4 of these over the course of the forum, and then we'll get our first question in here from Zuli in San Jacinto. First question for you, though, is what direction do you feel the county is heading in? Press 1 if you feel it's heading in the right direction. Press 2 if you feel it's heading in the wrong direction, Press 3 if you think the county is just doing well. Again, what direction do you think that the county is heading in? Press 1 for heading in the right direction. Press 2 for heading in the wrong direction. Press 3 if you feel like the county is doing well. And again, really appreciate this kind of feedback for those of you who are not submitting questions, but a reminder, 0 to submit a question, 7 if you want to get email updates from Supervisor Gutierrez going forward. Let's go ahead and bring our first question in. This comes in from Zuli in San Jacinto. Zuli, you're live. Go ahead with your question for Supervisor Gutierrez.
Hello.
Hi,
I would
Zuli.
like to know, when does the San Jacinto Animal Shelter plan to reopen?
So we actually it's already been open, in fact, to the public from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday. And we are going to have a grand reopening on November 3rd. So I really invite you to join us at 9:30 a.m. And then we're going to expand the hours after December 1st. But great question, Zuli. Appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate you. Thank you so much, Zuli, for our first question of the evening. We're going to go to another one queuing up here from Dwayne in Moreno Valley, and I'll go ahead and bring him live as well. Dwayne, we've got you live on the line. Thank you for joining us on our forum. What's your question for Supervisor Gutierrez?
Is there any update on the donkey situation in North Moreno Valley, eliminating them from roaming the neighborhoods and destroying private property?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Dwayne, for that question. Right now, our hands were actually tied with our Animal Services Department because of legislation, but I'm glad to say that because of the new legislation, we are able to now transport them. But we do have someone actually here from Animal Services to talk about, the bureaus and that whole situation. And again, it's something that we have heard from many, many residents, but I do have our lieutenant here from Animal Services. Lieutenant, is there anything you might want to add?
Yes. SB 371 passed in September. So what this does is it's formalized our arrangements with our nonprofits to provide long-term medical and rehabilitation. It doesn't change our day-to-day operations, but what it does provide is sanctuary for burros that we're unable to rehabilitate and re-release. There are no plans currently to round up all the burros, though, and take them to sanctuary.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much, Lieutenant. Really appreciate it. Next question.
All right. Thank you so much. We're going to go to a question that was submitted in advance by, looks like we got this one from Cliff. And Cliff, again, signed up for this forum in advance. And folks, if you want to sign up for future forums, again, tthm.com/Riverside. Cliff wants to know, I live in the northeast corner of Whitewater, just off of 62nd and Pearson Boulevard. We have an increased problem with people shooting guns and motorcycles, ATV racing around the area. What can be done to fix that? And again, Supervisor, this is from Cliff on the northwest corner of Whitewater and just off 62.
Okay, well, thank you, Ian, for that question, and thank you, Cliff, for the question as well. I do have our undersheriff here. I don't know, Undersheriff Don, can you maybe address this concern?
Well, good evening. We do have our off-road enforcement team that we can direct out that way. We do get requests all over the county, but we have expanded that team, so hopefully we can address at least the off-road vehicles where it's legal to ride. As far as the shooting guns, we'll probably have to look at what the property lines are, if there is any BLM land or where it's occurring, but typically the shooting in those areas needs to be very remote or on authorized land, but we can address that enforcement through Cabazon Station.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Undersheriff. And just so you know, as well, Cliff, if you're listening, we do have your contact information because when you left your question, so we will follow up also with the Sheriff's Department and then also yourself to hopefully address this concern. And maybe if we could get more information too, what's always helpful is like when, a time frame of when that's actually happening. That really does, I think, help our deputies. But thank you, Cliff, for that question. Next question.
All right. Appreciate you. Thanks again. Thanks to Cliff. We're going to go to Linda in Moreno Valley next. Linda, we've got you live. Go ahead with your question, please.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, how are you? Glad to see you in office. You're doing an amazing. My question is, are there any low-cost animal service programs available to District 5 residents?
Well, that's a great question. I know that we do have several wellness clinics that are coming up. In fact, our office was able to sponsor actually several clinics throughout this year. And so there's going to actually be one coming up. I don't know where you actually live, but I know there's going to be one coming up in Nuevo on November 8th. So if you want to swing by the New View Library from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., they also they offer free vaccines, microchipping, and also several other goodies too. I would also reach out to our animal services department, and I have their phone number too because they have other incentives and other great programs too, Linda. And their phone number is 951-358-7387. Thanks for that question. Next question, please.
Sure thing. All right. Let's get to this next one from Adrian in Hemet. And Adrian, seeing you want me to read this one for you. You say, we have a ton of these little flying bugs. I don't think they're mosquitoes. They're tiny. They could be no-see-ums. They do fly, though. Can the county do some spraying out here in Hemet? It's from Moreno Valley to Hemet and beyond. Adrian in Hemet with that question, Supervisor.
Thank you, Adrian, for that question. I've been hearing that concern a lot. Even mosquitoes and different little insects have been a major issue going on. I do have our environmental health person here, Department Head Jeff. Jeff, would you like to maybe expand on that question?
Yeah, we do routine surveillance in all the cities in the central portion of the county. I believe we have a spray team going out tonight or early in tomorrow morning in the city of Moreno Valley, but those are focusing on vectors that transmit disease and mosquitoes, not necessarily these biting flies that are out there too. Although when we spray, it does knock down everything that's in the path. But we're focusing on disease-transmitting insects.
Great. Thank you so much, Jeff. Appreciate it. Next question.
All right, sure thing. We're going to get to our next one from Jim, and then we'll have our next polling question after Jim's question. Jim asked me to read this one. He's asking, what is being done to address the increasing wild burro population in Riverside County? I think we touched on that already. Could you speak to that again for Jim, please, your Supervisor?
Sure. And one of the things that we're doing is with the new legislation that just passed, I think that's allowing now our Animal Services Department to be able to transport some of the burros to this new facility that we call Donkeyland. I believe that's the name of it. Right. Yeah, okay, Donkeyland. I just didn't want to make something up here, but I think it is called Donkeyland. So, and they actually help a lot of the donkeys, and they do a lot of great things there as well. Thanks, Jim, for that question.
All right. Thank you, Supervisor. We're going to go to Rick with our next question in a moment, but I wanted to get to our next survey question for those folks who are listening live here. We want to know, what do you see as the county's major problems? So what's the biggest problem in the county, in your opinion? Press 1 if it's homelessness. Press 2 if it's traffic. Press 3 for a lack of jobs. Press 4 for crime. And press 5 for inflation. Again, what do you see as the county's major problem? Press 1 for homelessness, 2 for traffic, 3 for a lack of jobs, 4 for crime, and 5 for inflation. We'll read the results of that poll in just a minute after a couple more questions. For now, let's go ahead and get to Rick. Hey, Rick, thanks for waiting. You're live with Supervisor Gutierrez.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, Supervisor, hello.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know what happened to that wellness center or wellness village that was supposed to go in the San Jacinto. I haven't heard anything about it or what the status is or what's going on with it, so I'd love to have you enlighten us.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for asking that question, Rick. One of the things that I'm really big on is hearing from residents and their concerns, and we did hear a lot of concerns for that center out in the Hemet area. But I do have Dr. Chang here. He's actually our behavioral health director. And I don't know, Dr. Chang, maybe if you would like to just kind of expand on that question. He's asking what happened?
I don't think I can top Donkey Land. Let me start there. But no, I think we're continuing to build out wellness villages. As we mentioned before, we want to build multiples of these.
Sure.
We're looking to build the first one, however, though, in Mead Valley. And
okay.
So we are moving ahead with that project and working through that. But again, so, the first one will be built in Mead Valley, and we're looking to build multiples of these wellness villages because we know there's such need in the community. So.
Great, thank you. So I don't know if you heard that, but it's going to be in Mead Valley. That's what we heard. Thank you. Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Chang. Next question, sir.
Sure thing. We've got our next one coming to us from David and Hemet, and he's live on the line, but has asked me to read it. He's asking, can you speak on the CCW issue, conceal carry? That's from David.
Okay. Can he elaborate a little bit more on that? Is there anything on there?
Yeah, he asked just for kind of he just asked, can you speak on the CCW issues to conceal carry, and asked for it to be read. So I'm not sure if he has anything additional to offer. Any thoughts from you on conceal carry in Riverside County?
I think, I don't know, under Sheriff, it's allowed in the county, so I don't know what his actual question is in relation to it.
It would be difficult to answer without knowing if the issue is how do you obtain a CCW, how do you qualify for one, or if there's concerns with the issuing of them, and how does that go for citizens. But there's a process for it. Obviously, some of the laws had changed in the court rulings, so it does allow for it doesn't allow for as much scrutiny for what is excluded, but the Sheriff Department does a full comprehensive background check before any approval is done.
Thank you, Under Sheriff. And again, what we'll also do is just reach out to him since we have his contact information, just so we can expand on his question, just to make sure we address it appropriately. Great, thanks.
Yeah, appreciate that, Supervisor. So, David, if you do want to follow up with that question, press 0, submit it again. We'll see if we can get you in the latter half of our call here, but otherwise we'll have somebody reach out to you to see if you just need help registering or something to that effect. All right, let's go to our next question. This is another one that we got through web registration, so thanks to Nancy for this next one. She's asking, what are some of the plans or conversations that are taking place when it relates to the $12 million grant for Hemet and San Jacinto area? What is the spending plan for these funds, and will that be the most effective approach? Is this ringing a bell for you from Nancy, Supervisor?
No, it actually does. Thank you, Ian, for that question. I'm actually really excited about this grant because it's a $12 million grant that we're getting from the state to help address homelessness in the San Jacinto River bottom, but it's also going to impact the neighboring areas, which is San Jacinto and Hemet. Really, truly excited about it. But I will turn it over. Actually, we have one of our experts in Housing Workforce Solutions, and it's actually our director, Heidi. Heidi, do you want to elaborate a little bit on the grant, on how, in terms of how that funding is being spent?
Absolutely. The $12 million that our county has received to specifically address the situation will be to, number one, and most importantly, to provide housing, but it will also be used to cover the cost of providing street outreach teams. And also of huge importance for this population is also the need to provide wraparound services to address the situation in and around the San Jacinto River bottom.
Great. Thank you so much, Heidi, for providing that information. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Really excited about this new grant, by the way.
Yeah, thanks so much for reviewing it, and thank you for that last question. We're going to take a moment to run our next survey question, but first I have the results of the last poll. We asked you, what do you see as the county's largest problem? It looks like 42% of you said homelessness, 14% said traffic, 10% said it was a lack of jobs, 13% said crime, and 22% said inflation. So thank you for voting in that poll. Really appreciate that feedback again. We're going to go right into our third survey question right now. And again, you can vote on your phone. We want to know, in what ways can the county improve services? Again, in what ways can the county improve services? Press 1 if it's improve social services. Press 2 if it's increasing public safety. Press 3 if it's improving customer service. And press 4 if it's enhancing infrastructure. So again, in what way can the county best improve its services? Press 1 for improving social services, 2 for increasing public safety, 3 for improving customer service, and 4 for enhancing infrastructure. Really appreciate that feedback as well. We'll have the results in just a moment here. For now, let's get our next question up for Supervisor Gutierrez and crew from Scott in Hemet. Scott, thanks for waiting. You're live on the line with the supervisor.
Yes, Supervisor. Our roads out here are just atrocious. Is there any plans to get them paved? And is there any vision as to whether Gilman Springs and Ramona Expressway are going to be expanded to more than one lane each way?
Yes, no, that's a great question, and I do have some good news that it will be expanded. In terms of the time frame, I do have Mark Lancaster here, and he's an expert in that area. So, Mark, if you could just elaborate a little bit in terms of the time frame and what about that.
I'd be happy to, and thank you for the question. First, I'll start with Gilman Springs Road. So there's two things we're doing on Gilman Springs Road. Actually coming up on Sunday, November 5th through early Monday morning on November 6th, we're going to replace those yellow delineators that are in the median of Gilman Springs Road. We're going to shut down to Sunday night to Monday morning. We're going to shut down the road with the California Highway Patrol's assistance and replace as many delineators as we can. We also have a passing lane project. It's about a 2-mile passing lane between Alessandro and Bridge Street. That would be going in the northbound direction or towards State Route 60. For Ramona Expressway, there's been a median island that was constructed in the spring of this year, and we're working with the Riverside County Transportation Commission to have it be 5 lanes on Ramona Expressway from Ryder to Warren Road. It's about a 9-mile section. We're working with RCTC as the known acronym of that agency. That project is expected to start in summer of 2026. We're working on design issues right now and acquiring the property needed to construct the project.
No, thank you for that question. And that 8.5-mile concrete median that's already there has really saved lives already. So I really appreciate that answer, Mark. And we definitely are working to expand the Gilman Springs. And we do have your contact information, so what we'll do is we'll reach out to you in terms of the roads that you talked about that might need some more repaving, those specific roads, to see if they're actually within the city or if they're within the unincorporated areas. If they're within the unincorporated areas, I'd love to know, because then we can work with our transportation department to see how we can improve those roads. And then if they're within the city, I can reach out to the city as well, so we can connect you there and work on those issues too. Thanks, Ian. Next question.
Thanks again, Supervisor. And thank you to Mark as well. Thanks for the question from Scott and to all the folks who have submitted questions so far. We're at the halfway mark of our hour forum. We've got David up next with his question, but I wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping here, remind folks how to submit questions and emails. We had a big lineup of folks who were submitting email addresses for updates, so thanks to those of you who waited a little bit to speak with an operator. We've got that queue cleared now, so if you want to give us an email address so you can get updates on issues like the ones we're talking about tonight from Supervisor Gutierrez, press 7 on your phone. Give us that email address so we can keep you updated moving forward. Of course, you can also still press 0 to submit a question for Q&A. We've got lots of great ones in line for the latter half of our forum. And then one more time, if you haven't already registered for these forums and you want to, go to tthmsandmary.com/Riverside, and you can find out more about the work that Supervisor Gutierrez is doing at RivCo, district5.org, including the work program that he mentioned there. Again, RivCo, district5.org. Thanks again, everybody, for your questions. We're going to go right back into it with this next one from David. Hey, David, thank you for waiting. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you. Supervisor, I'm from Moreno Valley. I was here when you were mayor, and we're very happy to see you as supervisor.
Thank you, sir.
The question I have is about your Hire a Senior program. I have seen the flyer for District 5, And I understand that there's incentives. I was wondering, is that for the employee or for the employer?
Thank you, David. It's a great question. It's actually for both. So he's asking about the Hire a Senior program. And this is actually a program when I was doing the meet and greets throughout the Pass area. A lot of seniors were asking about what kind of programs do we have to incentivize businesses to hire seniors. And so we went on this mission to create a program where we provide a $1,000 stipend to each business that hires a senior. We also help our employees too, so our seniors as well. So after 3 months, the senior will also receive a stipend of $500 as well. So for every senior that the business hires, the business receives a stipend, and then so does the senior as well. So it's actually both. Thanks for that question, David.
Yeah, glad you could go over that again there, Supervisor. And again, folks, if you want more information on that program, it's rivcoworkforce.org/District 5. Or again, you can go to the supervisor's website at rivcodistrict5.org. We're going to get to our next question coming to us from Greg in Hemet, who's asked me to read it. And so I've got Greg on now. His question is, the animal shelter in San Jacinto, are they only taking in dogs, or can I adopt a pet there? Oh, great question, Greg. Thanks for it. Who should we go to for this one, Supervisor?
No, thank you for that. I believe that they can actually already start adopting dogs, but we're going to have our lieutenant here just confirm. I don't want to just say that and then you go there and they don't allow you to adopt. Lieutenant?
Good evening. Yes, we are open for adoption, cats, dogs. We even have sheep and a couple other livestock animals available for adoption.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
All righty. Thank you again for that. Let's go ahead and get to, let's see, we've got Don in Hemet next here who's asking, what's with all the homeless? There are piles of trash everywhere, and I want to know where they are coming from. Our city is being ruined. Thank you for this, Don. It's something I'm sure a lot of folks have questions about tonight. Supervisor, can you speak about the county's efforts here for Don?
No, thank you, Don, for that question. Homelessness has been a major concern for the county and even the 5th District especially. And so I'm proud to say that I'm really working hard with our HWS family, our department there, and we've created some very unique programs. But like anything, it takes time. And we just started this new effort with the Homeless to Work program. It hasn't officially launched, but it will be launching around December. And this is a program, and I believe you asked about, the trash, that sometimes the folks that are unhoused leave. And so what this program does is we provide them with part-time work in beautifying and cleaning the community. So I think that's going to help as well. Even reaching out to our sheriff's department too with some of our folks that go around the county to pick up trash as well. I believe they're called our community workers. And so there's a lot of different efforts that we're working on in the 5th District. But we also have that Employer Connect program that I mentioned too. And that's another great incentive where we help businesses pay the wages for employees as well. But one thing that I did want to mention is that it's really important for residents to help us too. If you see someone that might be homeless, to kind of let us know, and I believe that there is a website and a phone number that residents can actually call into. So I'm going to ask Heidi for that, and she's giving it to me right now. So this is really important because if you know the cross streets of where someone is, you can actually report this by emailing homeconnect@ruhealth.org, homeconnect@ruhealth.org, or you can call this number, 1-800-498-8847. It really does help us as a county if we know where it's at, so then we can actually send a street outreach team out there to see what the concerns are and how we can actually find, the root cause of the problem and help address housing and wraparound services. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you again. Appreciate that last question. That one came to us from Don. Let's go to Lorraine next. Lorraine's got a question here. She says, I'm a local business owner. I'm considering expanding my team. Does the county have any incentives or programs to help with local hiring? And we've talked about this a little, but glad to hear a business owner needs this kind of help. Can you speak to that program again for us, please, Supervisor?
Yes, no, we have those hire programs already in place. So the Hire District 5 program, the Hire a Senior, Hire a Vet. I do want to also mention that, because you did mention that you want to expand your business too, there's a grant called the Thrive Grant through our Office of Economic Development, and they provide grants anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. So, we'd be more than happy to provide you that information. But if you go to rivcodistrict5.org, my website, and then click on services, we have that information there as well. Again, we're going to be reaching out to everyone that did call, at least, with a question, just so we can make sure that we get your question addressed appropriately. Okay, next question, please.
Sure thing. All right. Thank you again, Supervisor. Let's get our next polling question up. We've got the results of our last poll. We're going to go to Petra with our next question after that, and San Jacinto, seeing you want me to read it, Petra, happy to do that. Results of our last poll, though, we wanted to know, in what ways do you think the county can improve services? 32% of you said it was improving social services. 31% of you said it was increasing public safety. 7% said it was improving customer service. And looks like 30% of you said it was enhancing infrastructure. So thank you for voting on that. Again, really appreciate all of this feedback you're giving us in our surveys. We've got our last survey here. Our question for you is, would you be in favor of the county hosting more free community events, such as movies at the park and family-friendly concerts and events? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. And again, the question is, would you be in favor of the county hosting more free community events, such as movies at the park and family-friendly concerts and events? And Supervisor, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you've got some of those events listed on your website, right, if anybody's curious about what kind of events you're already hosting?
Yes, we do. We actually have a section on our website called Events, and they can click on that, and we're always updating things. And we're trying to actually do events throughout the district, within the cities and the unincorporated communities. The unincorporated communities, we're actually hosting the events, and then within the cities, we're partnering with various city agencies or even school districts to do those events in the cities.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And thanks again, everybody who voted in our surveys. Again, thanks so much for that feedback. We're going to go to our next question from Petra, who's asked me to read it for her. She says, I'm not sure if I heard correctly. Are there going to be funds for people to beautify their homes or their neighborhoods? Is there someone that these questions and answers will, somewhere that these questions and answers will be posted? So I think the first question is, are there going to be funds for people to beautify their homes and neighborhoods? And then the second question is maybe, are the questions from tonight's forum going to be posted somewhere along with answers? Can you take these on for Petra and San Jacinto?
Great. No, thank you for that question. I think that's a great suggestion, actually, to post some of the questions and answers. We can definitely do that on our website and possibly maybe even social media, but probably more on the website because there's going to be a lot of questions. But in terms of funds to beautify their homes, I do know that I believe our HWS office, what we do is we have something known as CDBG funding, and we allocate different funds to different programs to help with different things. So it's a lot of times it's based on income, though, so it does depend. But I don't know if maybe, Heidi, you want to just elaborate a little bit on, I know there was a specific program before.
You're right, Supervisor. While I will have to take down their contact information to confirm, you're absolutely right that it is a program that you must income qualify for. You also have to be located in the unincorporated areas or part of a participating city for those CDBG programs. And the reason that I need to get back to you is that we have completely used a lot of those funds, and so I just need to check to see if there are any funds remaining and which area they're eligible for. And they're usually for homes that need upgrades as opposed to beautification.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much, Heidi. Next question, please.
Sure thing. Yeah, let's get to this one. Looks like Barbara's happy to go live with her next question here. Let's bring her up. Hey,
Hi,
Barbara.
Barbara.
Welcome from San Jacinto.
Hi there, Barbara.
Hello. I
Hi.
would like to know why there is so much trash along our highways.
Thank you for that question. You know, one of the things that I know that we're working as a county is with RCTC and also Caltrans to report some of that trash. We also are working with our community workers as well that we have through our sheriff's department. And I know sometimes I think they do some cleaning as well. So if we have the information of which part of the freeways, you know, we can look into that some more. So we will be reaching out to you, Barbara, because you did ask a question. So like I mentioned, anybody that asks a question, we will reach out to you. So that way we can get more information about where exactly that you see that mostly happening. Because we can definitely report it to Caltrans, which is a state-level agency. And they're responsible for the highways. Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate the answer. Let's get our next one up right away from Scott in Cabazon. Scott, you are live. Go ahead with your question, sir.
Hello, Supervisor. So end of September, the city of Cabazon, or unincorporated area of Cabazon, hosted a community cleanup day, which was great. We're all for that. However, on that same day, we noticed that there was an event at the library adjacent to where the cleanup was held, where they were having I'm not sure the correct way, but like a drag queen reading books to the children type deal at the library. We wanted to know, one, was anyone aware of this? Because it was never addressed anywhere, posted anywhere on any of the community information sites. And then two, if not you, who can we, bring up this concern with? We noticed there was like a lot of camera crews there, so we don't know if it was more like some type of documentary or, again, if anyone in the offices was even aware this was going on. And again, who can we address our concerns with, if not yourself?
Thank you, sir, for that question. I was not aware. I was actually there, doing the cleanup. I was there with my staff doing the cleanup. I was not aware of that, but I will research it some more to find out, who organized the event or anything like that, just so we can get more information about that. But thank you for that question. But basically, the Office of Economic Development runs that library, and they contract it out to a company called LSI. That's the name of the company, LSI. And so I'm going to follow up with them to get more information about that. Thank you for that question. Next question, please.
Sure thing. Let me get this one up here from Sharmita. All right. We've got Sharmita live from San Jacinto. Sharmita, you're up. Go ahead, please.
Hi there.
I am here. Hi.
Good. Thank you. What's your question?
My original question was, do we have any funding or any type of programs coming up to help the youth, like community activities?
No, that's a great question. Yes, no, that's a great question. So we do have, a couple things. We're doing a lot of community events now in the cities and also in the unincorporated areas for our young folks. But if you do know of someone that maybe whether it's a son, grandson, or nephew that you might want to get involved, we have something called our Youth Advisory Council. And this is where kids learn leadership skills, and they become the student government arm of the county. And it's really great because the cool part about it is that every year they actually get a scholarship. And so by the end of high school, they can actually have 4 years worth of scholarship. So I highly encourage to get more information about that. And the website for that is rivcoyac.org, and they can actually apply through there as well. I'm also working on a leadership an apprenticeship program coming up this summer too, where we can actually provide them with part-time work. The county also has our youth opportunity centers, and those are really great as well. And I believe we have one out in San Jacinto. Stephanie, maybe Stephanie, you can elaborate. We have them actually throughout the county, but these youth opportunity centers are really great because they have little activities for the teens and the kids, and even part-time work for them. Stephanie?
Yes, thank you, Supervisor. You are correct. So we have 2 youth opportunity centers located in District 5. We have one that's right on the border of Hemet, San Jacinto, and one that is also in Moreno Valley. If you are interested in information regarding the youth opportunity centers, you can visit our website at ribcoworkforce.org. And I'm also going to give you the main line to workforce development, and they can also help point you in the right direction. It's 951-955-3100. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you again. Appreciate all the questions, everybody. And I just wanted to let you know again that we have cleared the queue of folks who are waiting to submit waiting to submit email addresses for updates from Supervisor Gutierrez. So if you were waiting to do that until the queue cleared again, press 7 now if you want to give us your email address. Also, if you've missed any of these websites or phone numbers that we've mentioned and you want to have one of our operators repeat it for you, press 7 for that as well, and they can repeat those websites for important things like finding that Rivco Workforce or the supervisor's website, anything like that. You can press 7 for now, in addition to giving us your email address for updates. All right, let's move on with about 14 minutes left in our forum. We're going to keep trucking, get as many questions in as we can. George is here from Hemet next. George, looks like you've got a couple of questions. Do you want me to read those questions, or you want to ask them yourself?
Yeah, you could go ahead and read them.
Okay. So a couple of questions here, Supervisor. Number 1, bike lanes around Hemet. Are they doing anything about that? It's confusing where the bike lanes are. Some roads in Valley Vista, there are white lines for bikes. How do the laws apply to scooters and other electric recreational vehicles? That's question 1. Question 2, why is the school district hiding info about how they feel about themselves? Can you take on these 2 questions from George in Hemet?
No, thank you, George, for that question. For the first question, actually for the second question, I don't know too much information about the concerns that you have about the school district, so I'd love to learn more. And so our office will reach out to you to find out more information about that and see how we can be of help. But for the first question, I do have Mark, who is the head of our transportation department here. And I think, Mark, you can elaborate a little bit about his question.
Yeah, as far as bike lanes go, they should be delineated pretty clearly. It really does depend on how wide the street is to have a designated bike lane. But bicycles, of course, can run on any street, any public street legally, and scooters can also, motorized scooters, mopeds, those kinds of things, they can also legally run in bike lanes.
And this is state law, right?
This is probably safer for them to be in the bike lane rather than mixing with the vehicular traffic.
Great.
Vehicle code, yes.
Great.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And again, George, the county will follow up with you on your second question, get some more clarity on that. One more reminder here with about 12 minutes left. 7 if you want to get email updates from Supervisor Gutierrez moving forward. And we're going to go to Sharon, who's calling us from San Jacinto. Hey, Sharon, thanks for joining. What's your question?
Hi, Sharon.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, good. Thank you. Thanks for calling.
Good.
Appreciate it.
Good. No, you called me, but anyways. Okay, it's kind of a 2-part question. One, are there any no-kill shelters in the San Jacinto Hemet area? And because I do understand that we're getting overpopulated, so it's kind of hard to rectify the problem. But 2, they want us to spay and neuter animals and whatnot, but they make it so expensive, people can't, they can't afford it. Mm-hmm. With everything else expensive.
And that's why, well, thank you for that question. I just wanted to start off with the spay and neuter part, that that's one of the reasons why our office is sponsoring several spay and neuter clinics throughout this year. In fact, we have actually one that's upcoming. I believe it's November 8th. And so that's going to be, I believe, in Nuevo, but we're going to have another one in Cabazon and then also by the San Jacinto area. And then with the San Jacinto Animal Shelter reopening, that's going to be great too, because we're going to be able to have some discounts there for residents. But the cool part is that it's no cost at those spay and neuter clinics that we have. But in terms of your first question about the no-kill shelters, I do have our lieutenant here. Lieutenant, if you can maybe elaborate on that question.
Unfortunately, no, we do not have any no-kill shelters in the Hemet-San Jacinto area. I would like to expand, though, on the low-cost services for the spay-neuter services. We do have grant money to help those that need help getting their animals altered to for free or very low cost, in addition to the supervisor-sponsored events.
Great. Thank you so much, Lieutenant. Appreciate it. Thank you for calling again. Next question, please.
All righty. Let's get this one in here from Julie in Hemet. And looks like Julie's good to go live here. Let me bring her up. And Julie, looks like just based on your question, we've already got you tagged up for follow-up from the county to see what we can do to help. So just wanted to start with that. But go ahead with your question for Supervisor Gutierrez, and we'll get you an answer here live on the air as well.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Supervisor Gutierrez. I'm a hospice social worker, and my question is related to what we can do to better support our seniors. As you know, we are experiencing a gray wave, and there is a paucity of caregiving that's affordable. Our seniors, even the ones that are on Medi-Cal with IHSS services, are often not able to get a caregiver because of their share of costs, because those numbers come from 1965. I'm very concerned about the fact that people are not able to age in place independently, that they're dying early, and that most of these people have a check of $1,500 or $2,000 or $2,500. And I want to know what we're doing to address this crisis, because we have people right now that are dying without the help that they need. And I'd like to figure out how we can help them age in place at home, or at least have some place to put them. There isn't enough assistance for these people, and they are not allowed to die with dignity in their home, and it's just shameful.
It's very concerning. I was actually over at the assisted living facility home. It's called the Lakes over by Banning, but not everybody has the opportunity, or the resources to have access to that. So I definitely understand. And I know that our county offices, especially with our Office on Aging, is trying to work on expanding the program that we have so we can help more residents, especially with Medi-Cal services. But I don't know, maybe Maureen, if you wanted to expand on this question, or...
Sure. As the Elder Abuse Deputy District Attorney for Riverside, we are seeing this silver tsunami already taking place. It is an ongoing problem. One of our best agencies and counterparts that we work with to combat this particular issue is Adult Protective Services. Anyone that has a concern regarding seniors' ability to safely take care of themselves or age in place should report those concerns to Adult Protective Services. Their number is 1-800-491-7123. Our office also does presentations out in the community concerning protecting seniors from fraud or other scams out there, which unfortunately is a huge cause to financial loss, which leaves many seniors unable to afford their golden years. And so it's really part education, also working with our collaborative partners, the Office on Aging and Adult Protective Services, to really offer as much assistance to those seniors to help them live as they wish for their remaining days.
And a lot of things, too, if I could just add as well, Maureen, as well, is that in the Office of Aging, there's about 27 programs, and some of them even provide meals to seniors, and most of those programs are not based on income. Some of the programs through DPSS and those other agencies are, but with Office on Aging, many of their programs are not. So it's really just looking at some of those programs too. So we'll be happy to follow up, or my staff will be happy to follow up with you too, so we can get more of your concerns too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate everybody addressing that, and thank you, Julie, for something you're obviously very passionate about and bringing it to our forum tonight. Thanks so much to you. Let's go to our next question coming to us from Ken in San Jacinto. Ken, welcome. Go ahead with your question, sir.
Hi, Ken.
Ken, we got you on the line there? I'll go ahead and read his question. Ken's asking, with all the programs and the $12 million grant money coming to the county, how can we turn around and take this money and make it a profitable resource? Like make the money make money. That's from Ken.
Okay. Well, one of the things that we're doing with that program, with that grant program, is really to help address the homelessness that's in the river bottom, but also around the area. And we're always trying to look at ways that we can keep, the efforts that we're doing, keep them long term. We want to make sure that we can keep them long term and not just short term. So we're always looking at that, and I think ideas, if you have any ideas, we'd love to hear those ideas as well. And again, we'll be reaching out to you. So if you have any of those ideas, I'd love to hear them as well, so we can expand on the program.
All right. Thank you, Supervisor. We've got less than 5 minutes left here, so I'm going to get this one in from Matt in Cabazon, who's got a good question for us. Then we'll turn it back over to you to offer any closing thoughts. He's asking, the train situation in Cabazon is getting worse every day. Wait times are hours long, and we're stuck. What are we doing about it? Can you take that on for Matt, please?
Thank you so much, Matt, for calling in and sharing that concern. I've actually heard that concern a lot. I've been able to see that as well. There's been, unfortunate, some things that have happened because of that. And I do have Mark that's here from Transportation. So, Mark, if you can kind of elaborate, maybe talk a little bit about what we're kind of doing about that. I know we have a meeting coming up with Congressmember Raul Ruiz. We're working on some different initiatives to really work on this whole train situation in Cabazon.
Right. Thank you, Supervisor. And the situation in Cabazon has been kind of amplified a little bit because the Federal Railroad Administration are allowing for longer trains, which in the Cabazon area blocks the two crossing or the two, I'll say, at-grade crossings that allow residents in and out and emergency vehicles in and out if necessary. So the supervisor has started an initiative to construct an emergency-only type of crossing. So when there is an incident and the other two locations are blocked, it'll be an emergency outlet for the residents in Cabazon to either get out of a particular situation or have emergency vehicles, first responders reach the residents of Cabazon. A longer-term project that we're also working on is what's called a grade separation or a road that will go over the railroad as well as the Interstate 10 freeway from the south side to the north side and vice versa. But that will provide a long-term relief, and that will be at Broadway Avenue. So we're working on with RCTC. It's another sister agency of ours in transportation. We're working on trying to initiate and get that project moving forward as well.
Mm-hmm. And then the emergency crossing is actually a lot faster than that long-term one, right?
It can be implemented a lot quicker. The only other one I've had to work on is there's a lot of rules. It's Union Pacific Railroad. They have to agree to allowing this, so there are several steps to take before we can get that implemented.
But I do want you to know that we are on it. We're working on that issue. And I did want to just share, because you called in from Cabazon, that we are working on a Cabazon beautification project where we will be hoping to beautify some of the main roads with plants, trees, drought-tolerant landscape, arch. We're going to be bringing some of these concepts, several concepts, to the Cabazon MAC, the Municipal Advisory Council. And then we're going to also be sharing these projects on our social media and our website, and we'll be doing email blasts as well, so we can get input from residents. And I really hope to get this project within a year completed, and this will be a beautification project in the beginning parts, actually in the main areas of Cabazon. I believe it's Broadway and Main streets as well.
Right.
Thank you for that question.
All right. Thank you again. Really appreciate everybody who's stayed on with us for almost an hour already here. Thanks so much to our District 5 Riverside County residents. It's really your questions that drive these forums. So really appreciate your time, voting in polls, listening in, submitting questions. Thanks so much to you. We will give you an opportunity if you need to leave a voicemail message for the county and have somebody follow up on a question we were not able to get to today, just stay on the line. And if you want to leave that voicemail message when we finish wrapping up, I'll turn it over to the supervisor to take us to the close. You can just stay on the line, leave a voicemail message. Be sure to leave your name and contact information if you need somebody to reach back out to you and provide assistance. So again, if you need additional support, stay on the line, leave a voicemail message, or if we just had a question that we didn't get a chance to get to, leave that voicemail message and we'll have somebody follow back up with you. And with that, Supervisor Gutierrez, I'll turn it back over to you to take it to the close here.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ian. I just want to, again, just mention to the public, I want to take the moment to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for joining us tonight, for asking your question, calling in. Some of you emailed your questions as well, and some of you weren't able to ask your question, but we will get to your question and provide you a response. It's really, truly through platforms like this that we can keep open lines of communication. And so, again, I'm really excited for this. I was very impressed by the range and depth of the questions asked tonight. We heard questions related to Cabazon, from Animal Services to the Sheriff's Office. So it's great that our community is really engaged in the 5th District. You can always reach out to us with any code violations or any questions or concerns, either by calling our office number or by emailing us at district5@rivco.org. You can also download our mobile app, and it's called Rivco D5. So if you go to the Apple Store or Google Store, and then you search Rivco D5, you'll be able to download our app, and you can actually report an issue. And then what we do is we open up a case, and then from my office, we follow up to address that concern. I'd like to extend a special thank you to our dedicated county staff and our department heads for their presence tonight, especially the folks that came and responded to questions. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Dr. Chang, Mark, Under Sheriff Don, Director Heidi Marshall, Deputy Director Stephanie. So a lot of folks came and answered questions. So again, I just want to thank you all, especially Maureen from the DA's office as well. Before we go, I also like to remind you all about the grand reopening of the San Jacinto Animal Campus, and that's scheduled for November 3rd at 9:30 a.m., and I hope to see you all there. And then we're also going to have a Polar Express movie night in Cabazon on December 2nd. So we'll be doing a great event there as well. Again, thank you so much for participating. Thank you, Ian, for hosting this telephone town hall. And thank you all to the residents of District 5. Please stay safe, especially during the week of Halloween, and let's continue to thrive in District 5.
Thank you again, Supervisor. And we had 9,151 join us tonight, Supervisor. So thanks again for your time and for organizing this, and thanks to the over 9,000 residents who joined us for this forum. Stay on the line to leave those voicemail messages, and otherwise, thanks so much again for your time. Be well. Have a great night.